Welcome to Knock It Like a Hot Shot. Jeff DeSocio, James Feudo. We do this every time, don't
One
we?
of these days, I have to match your energy with these openings. It's like it's my favorite part of actually every episode is watching the way that
I
you.
just keep it
Yeah,
rocking and rolling,
I'm
right?
like it's always a surprise for me because I'm like, how is he going to open us today when we
Yeah.
do this recording?
Well,
So
I've been going to the Johnny Carson School of announcements lately. We were
you
talking
mean
about,
like your Ed McMahon, like we were talking about before?
yeah. Of course, I had my wake shot right before this.
Oh, I
You know,
know. I need one of those.
allinmycart.com. You get one of those at that website there.
Did you hear that? Allinmycart.com if you want to
Awake.
be awake like Jeff.
A week like Jeff here. So, hey, episode 24. We're one
Yeah.
away from the silver anniversary.
I know. Isn't that incredible? We're
Look at this.
halfway to our goal for when we can start having guests.
We can almost have guests soon. Well, we're
Yeah.
looking. Looking out there for some guests soon,
Yeah.
right? We're not
gonna be a
till
lot of
episode
fun.
50. But we have a special. This is a special day.
Yeah.
We got to introduce somebody.
Yeah. We've got our new producer, who is here.
Reagan.
Yeah.
Come
Come
over
on
here,
over,
Reagan. Say hi to everybody. This is Reagan.
Hello to the podcast.
You're live on YouTube, Reagan. So she's doing an amazing job making sure Market Like a Hot Shot is a hot shot podcast of the century, right?
Definitely.
Right. Thank you, Reagan, so much.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited to see what you do with this one.
Yes, yes.
Cool.
Today we're going to be talking about connecting like a hot shot. Right, Reagan?
Yes, we
We're
are.
going to connect like a hot shot?
Yes, and you have some great networking experiences very recently that you can talk about.
50 years worth.
Oh, 50 years,
Yeah,
perfect.
isn't that
I'm
crazy?
very
Isn't that
excited
crazy?
for it.
I'm old, right? Call me
Not at all, not at all.
Call me Grandpa.
I will let you guys start it up. So.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah, definitely.
Awesome.
Yeah. Thanks.
Awesome.
We're
Thank you, Reagan.
excited to have you on here and have you helping us.
Perfect stuff. So,
Really, really excited.
So connecting like a hot shot, right? So we're breaking down not just networking. I know we talked about networking on episode
Yeah.
11.
Yep.
But just like AI, seems like AI is one of those multi-tiered episodes. Networking is near and dear to my hot shot shotgun today. But we're going to talk about connecting. We're going to dive a little deeper into
Yeah.
connecting today. So what was let me ask you, all right, so you went to a gala last night, I heard,
Yeah.
right?
Oh yeah, it was
Yeah, the
great.
Metro West Gala. I was out in Cambridge like I am on Thursdays at Venture Cafe. But was there a highlight, like a person you met? You could go by name or just describe them that stood out to you.
Well, we did have a special guest who definitely stood out to me. She was incredible, helped us with the award ceremony. Tiffany Chan, formerly of WBZ. So
Yeah.
some of our local hotshots may remember her from Channel 4, but she's
Yeah, I
doing some
remember.
other cool things now. And we have another client, I'm actually going to plug Henrik
We're
Communications.
plugging.
No, I am plugging.
Plugging
These
people
guys are
right there.
incredible. Michael Henrik from Henrik Communications, him and his wife Renee. Renee manages the business. Michael is also another former news person. They were there last night.
Yeah.
And Michael let me hold his Emmy. And it's like,
How did that
I know,
feel?
it's going to be the jokes that he and I make whenever I say that. But, getting to talk to two people that are reporters, they just have this presence at networking events, and they have an eye for stories. So
Yeah.
that to me was very enlightening. And, like I said, Michael and Renee have been friends of mine for a while, clients as well. And then Tiffany I just really got to know last night. But learning like what's behind just like a name or a title or a company that people work for.
Yeah.
I think what happens a lot of times is people just get fixated, on your role, right?
Yeah.
So like your events,
Yeah.
you
I've been doing it for 13 years.
talk about the circle that you do at the events.
The circle. I do that usually in the smaller events, right? So
Right.
everyone introduces themselves. But, we don't really want to ask for a pitch, right? Because if you have a great LinkedIn profile or a great social media presence, you don't need to pitch your services constantly. People know what you do.
Right.
But tell a story. Nothing like, maybe it's a story about how you got started. Tell a story about the best client that you met, or the best, who impressed you the most at a networking event or at the supermarket.
Yeah.
Stories. Talk about a sporting event that inspired you, or a person that inspired you. You went through an inspirational speech. Telling stories. And if everyone going around the room told a story,
Mm-hmm.
do you think they're going to remember you from that story versus your pitch?
Yeah, I mean, who's going to remember? Hi, I'm Hat Guy, and I run networking events.
Who's this hat guy?
Yeah, nobody we know, right?
The one that has the comb over and then wears a hat over it.
I don't even know because I've never seen him without the
Well,
hat.
he sleeps with his hat on.
That doesn't surprise me.
So he probably does. So yeah, so telling a story, that's where you
Yeah.
have that surprising connection, right? So we talked about this in episode 11 about collecting business cards versus genuine relationships. So you built
Right.
a good relationship with Tiffany last night.
Yeah, I mean, it was great. And, I was just thinking of somebody else who was sitting at our table for dinner, our good friend Gary,
Bezos.
the one you call Bezos. But no, Gary is a good example of something like this because he just he gets connecting with people. So,
Yeah.
like, I've observed him. And last Friday, Reagan and I were at an event here at the center.
Reagan's going to networking events. I
Yeah,
love it.
Reagan's incredible. So she'll hopefully be at yours in a couple of weeks. Who
holiday
knows?
event.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
But no, in all seriousness, like what happens is I notice Gary, like when he's at an event, he doesn't just give his business card to somebody. He has a conversation with them. He connects with them.
Yeah.
And then the next thing I see is he's got his phone out. The person he's talking with has their phone out. And they're setting up a meeting, and
Yeah.
he did that when I first met with him. He's like, let's go have coffee, and that's his thing. And it's, he actually listens and cares about the type of people that, he cares about the person that they
That's why
are.
you won an ambassador award, right?
Yeah, he won Ambassador of the Year last night.
Metro West Chamber of Commerce here in
Yeah.
Framingham, Massachusetts.
Love it.
Yeah, really. So genuine relationships, and I always say this. I started networking wholeheartedly in 2007, right? And some of my best friends that I know today that I have dinner with, we have a rotation, my wife and I going to dinner. I'm still good friends with them because we built genuine relationships. Believe me, they know what I do.
Yeah.
They know I'm an executive recruiter. They know I have a marketing company. They know I sell like battery food. That's those awake shots we're talking about.
I love those battery things.
But it's genuine relationships because that mindset shift when you're networking, you feel like you're belonging. You're not selling.
Yeah.
And you know a seller when you meet them, right? They're just like people say. They want to talk about themselves. They talk about their product. But my name is Jeff, right?
Yeah.
Connect with me. Learn about me. Learn about James. Learn about Reagan, right? Before you do that.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, we talked about this in the networking episode that you should prepare. Like if you're meeting with a VIP or you're going to an event where there's a keynote speaker,
Yeah.
you don't have to wait until the event. And when you're there and see the person's bio, you can usually look them up ahead of time. And then that will help you connect with different, on a different level with these speakers because you might find something you have in common. Maybe they're a Northeastern grad, right?
I love those Huskies, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I heard, not to divert, our Framingham State Rams are in the football playoffs. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
They're playing at Bowdish Field tomorrow, 12 o'clock.
Wow.
Are you going to wear your Rams cheerleader outfit?
Yeah, I'm going to
Yeah,
skirt
okay.
and all.
Okay. Oh, that's scary. That's scary, Reagan. What do you think? But do you ever had a time when you had a connection that led to an unexpected opportunity?
Yeah, I mean, it happened. Actually, you are a good example of this.
Yeah,
that was
back in the days.
yeah,
of
back in the
COVID,
days of
the
COVID.
days.
It's like I had no idea. Like you were like a catalyst for a lot of different connections that I had.
Yeah.
Another one, Riyad Shah, president CEO of
Riyadh, how you doing,
yeah.
buddy?
Big shout out to him.
Big
Great
shout out.
guy. Again, him, Louisa, Angeli from the
I was going to
chamber
say
team.
Angelina Jolie for a minute. Oh, boy.
Angeli is their intern, and she's
Okay.
phenomenal. They did a great job last night. But there's a lot of people that I've met through Riyadh. And his role of in the chamber has been bringing in a lot of people. So I connected with him when he was in a different role, and we became friends. And he's brought me into different places. I've gone to different events with him, both because of my role with the chamber and his role with the chamber. But I wouldn't have had those opportunities otherwise without that particular connection.
Yeah, it's all about, right? So it's a time. It's basically what the emotional renaissance, or
It's a way to put it.
Is that what the word is? Versus transactional pitches.
Yeah.
Because there's some of those networking events. We know one dear and dear to our heart that it looks like the Brady Bunch. And they have like, everyone's like, it's like I'm watching 30-second commercials.
Or like the Hollywood Squares.
Hollywood Squares.
Without Jim J. Bullock.
And you're just like, oh my, can this end soon? Or you shut your camera off and and you do an eye roll. You don't want to be that person, because there's no connection. You're not connecting like a hotshot at all.
Well,
you're disconnecting. It's like
right.
All right, let's get back here. Stories before selling. So I talked to. I saw a presentation yesterday. Another shout out, Chuck Goldstone. What's up, buddy?
Love
he did.
Chuck.
He did an hour presentation at Venture yesterday about selling your story, right? Versus just selling, transactional selling.
Ah, cool. So he presented last night.
He
there?
presented there.
Oh, now I'm real. Well,
now he's mad at you. I think
know.
he's pissed.
Sorry, Chuck. If I didn't have the gala,
like,
I would have been there in a heartbeat.
Feudo's not here. Family Feudo. And he short, memorable stories. He talked about short, and it's short like I'm short. Memorable. See, I keep slouching in this chair here. But that's what you want to use at events. You know, you can practice your story. What I even recommend, you do a video yourself, tell your story. Think about that. You want to be the light in the room. And how do you become a light in the room? When you want to connect like a hot shot. Be that person. When you leave the room, the energy goes with you.
Right.
How do you become that person?
Well, part of it is to be your own
Authenticating
I'm
yourself.
I'm fumbling with my words today. But yeah, you want to be authentic.
You need an awake shot again.
Yeah, I definitely need an awake shot. But it's one of those things. I forget who it was that said it, but be yourself because everyone else is already taken.
Yeah. If you want to be the room of red people and you're that green person.
Right.
How do you do that? So that's how you connect like a hot shot. You got to be the storyteller. You craft a connection story instead of a sales pitch. We've talked about that. Share a playful moment. You want to be funny. We're trying to be funny on this show.
Yeah.
I don't know if anyone's laughing.
Every now and then we're actually successful at it.
Yeah.
Too.
The only person that laughs at my jokes is my wife. I'm going to see if Reagan laughs at my jokes. Then I know I've.
I laugh at your jokes too.
Okay,
I think they're
right.
funny
Sometimes. But people have that serious look. They're like, "What are you talking about, buddy?" But you want to be that. You want to have that playful moment.
Yeah.
That turns into a bond, and then the old know, like, and trust scenario.
I was watching something about Craig Ferguson, who the talk show host. I don't know. Have you ever seen any of his shows?
I think I remember him. Yeah.
Some clips of him. He is just like he's a riot to watch because he often has women on his show, and someone called it like flirting with the world. So like he gets super flirty with them, but like not because he's trying to date them. He's just trying to have a fun conversation.
Yeah, a little bit fun.
And that's something like, you don't have to go to that extreme, but it's an example of like, you don't have to always be serious when you're meeting with somebody, right? Like having fun with them, oh, that's a funny, making fun of yourself.
You make fun of the hat that person was. No.
The hat.
The hat.
Make fun of the hat guy on the other side of the room.
Yeah. There was somebody there with a cool hat last night.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's a good friend of mine. I'm not going to shout him out to him, but he came in with a hat, a tux, and gloves to the Venture Cafe. I'll tell you who it is later because I don't want to like embarrass the poor guy. But, he stood out, man. He was a story.
Yeah.
He had a story, and he was great networking, dude. So I'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
But that's what you want to be. Connecting like a hot shot. If you connect to others, be memorable.
Yeah.
Big tip. How can I be memorable tonight? You don't want to be that 30-second television commercial. You want to be that person that told a story. Somebody resonated with your story. And they do business with you.
Right.
They become a friend, right?
So, you think about when you have the circle, for example, and what do people typically say in the circle? They're like, my name is so-and-so, this is what I do. And then it's like they move on to that. And some people will get into a sales pitch. They're like, use us because we're 20% cheaper than, Instead of sitting there like if you remember the guy who's like, he goes, this is my job. I do this during the day, but he's like, what I like to do for fun, I'm a DJ, I go to clubbing, I do all this stuff. Yeah, I remember him. And I don't think I remember anyone else that was at that particular event.
That was kind of wild to do as a DJ.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kept seeing with those funky sunglasses on, the cap on.
And then doing the
Yeah, and then he's
the Run
serious
DMC
lawyer
thing.
by day. What do you
Yeah.
think? So practical ways to connect powerfully. All right. So listening. Again, we talk about this all the time in networking. Episode 11, right? We talked about this.
Yeah.
You have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason.
Right.
Why?
Because you should listen twice as much as you're talking.
Exactly. Yeah. And am I talking too much today?
I don't think so.
All right. Good.
Usually I'm the one that talks too much. So.
Yeah, I know, right? So, and you know what it is? Instead of, I always like this one. It's to connect like a hot shot.
Yeah.
Instead of saying something, ask something. Make it a question. So that way, what happens is, if you ask a question, you're going to listen more to what somebody has to say.
Mm-hmm.
If I sell my energy shot, right? How do you feel today? Do you feel tired? When are you tired? What time of the day are you tired? You ask questions like that. Now, like I sell this at the Wake Energy Shop,
Yeah.
and that's it. Boring. It's boring.
Right.
And that's listening as a superpower. And then how about noticing the invisible?
That is a huge thing. And when I used to teach networking, when I talked to people that were, afraid or anxious or nervous, what I call nervous networkers, I'm like, find someone else who's nervous and just strike up a conversation with them.
Yeah.
They're going to be the least intimidating person in the room. And who knows, you may, walk up as a friend. It's like kind of like a snowball, right?
Yeah.
You make that first meaningful connection. It'll loosen you up a little bit. And then the two of you are having a connection, and then someone else comes over. Like, we see this all the time at Venture.
Yeah. I mean, you see somebody, and my heart goes out to the person that's in the corner.
Yeah.
I always go to them, you took the first step to come here. It's very hard for somebody to go to a networking event for the first time because they don't know what to expect, right?
Right.
So as a host, I always like to kind of put my arm around them, bring them over, meet some folks. And, they become rock stars at the end because they lose that guard, right? So you want them to learn how to break the ice. If you break the ice, somebody's gonna remember you. If I was like my first event ever, and you were my first person I met at a networking event, there's gonna be something remembered there, right?
Right. Absolutely.
So yeah, and then what's the follow-up ritual? So if you want to, follow-up is always a big word. We talked about this in episode 11, sorry. How many episodes have we done? 24, right?
This is 24.
24. But a follow-up ritual. What do you do to follow up? And this, I know we talked about this a little bit in episode 11.
Yeah,
But
and, I mentioned it in episode 11, and since then I've gotten better because often, you get the business cards and they just kind of sit on your desk.
I just burnt a bunch of business cards.
Yeah,
Well,
I actually have them because they've come in useful. Like
Yeah.
I
put them on LinkedIn. That's the thing.
Yeah, no, I mean I actually keep them on my desk. I was just showing Reagan earlier, like
Rolodex.
this whole big stack of them.
Hey, Reagan, do you know what a Rolodex is?
I do not.
See, she does not. See, there
Yeah.
you go. You're old. All right, go
Yeah.
ahead.
I don't keep them in a Rolodex. I keep them in a stack. But,
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, I've gotten a lot better at that now because, like, for a while I'd just be like, oh, yeah, connect with them on LinkedIn. And now I'm actually going through and following through with people. Now that I have the time to do it, because, when you don't make it a priority often. And, like, what happens is the longer you wait,
Yeah.
the more difficult it is. So it's like, it's like, hey, had a great time meeting you last night. Sounds a heck of a lot better than, hey, it was great meeting you 4 months ago,
Yeah. Well, I have a rule of 24 to 48-hour rule after an event to connect with somebody. So, hey, that's what I'm doing after this. I mean, I had to do some follow-ups from Venture last night.
Yeah.
But another thing, here's a tip, because what time of year are we in right now?
Oh, yeah. Getting the holiday season.
Holiday season. Awesome time to reconnect with everybody you connected with this year. Everyone's, some folks celebrate Hanukkah, some folks Christmas, Ramadan. Is that this year?
Ramadan was...
Well, that's already passed, right? But, you have all different holidays. Or you could just say Happy New Year.
So, actually, my favorite author, Harvey McKay, sends out Thanksgiving cards.
Yeah, that's not bad, right?
And-
you only do it in America, though.
Yeah.
I was just on this meeting
Oh, my God.
just before this, and there was some folks from Canada on the
Yeah.
meeting. I was like, Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
But they have a different Thanksgiving.
They're
don't
like, Thanksgiving was in October.
Yeah.
Where the hell have you been? Yeah, that's actually our Columbus Day is their Thanksgiving.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind
Sorry,
of like
I'm getting tired.
it's getting like it's funny because we have Independence Day on the 4th of July.
Yeah.
Canada Day is the 1st. I actually had one year where I was in actually two times. I've been in Canada for Canada Day and then back here for
So you got a double celebration.
yeah,
Man.
it was like wonderful.
Fireworks everywhere,
Yeah,
right?
love it. It's a
Yeah.
lot of fun. But getting back to the following up, it is critical, and it's always good to take notes so that you want to be memorable. That's the I think the most
You're hearing
difficult
this a
thing.
lot tonight.
Yeah,
Today.
like being memorable is the challenge, and we could probably do a whole episode. Actually, we could probably do a couple episodes on being memorable. But when you follow
Everyone
up, you
remembers
want
my hairstyle.
yeah. Well, when you follow up, you want them to know who you were,
Yeah.
because you go to an event where you're meeting, especially a speed networking one, you're meeting like 30, 40 people in one night. What did you do?
Especially in speed. That's a good point. In speed networking, you're meeting so many people at once. Or if you go to an event with 100 people there, like, how do you stand out? You know?
Right.
All right, so let's land a little bit. Pitfalls, right, to avoid. We already talked about overselling and rehearse pitches. Don't rehearse your pitch.
Mm-hmm.
I love just being on the fly because that's when you're a little more authentic, right? How about treat people as social currency? I hate that.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of interesting because a lot of the events that you and I have been going to lately, there's been some VIPs there and stuff like that. And people are like, oh, so, like you and I were at an event where it's like we had more than half of the city council there, the mayor.
Yeah, the mayor.
You know.
What's up, Charlie?
Yeah, Charlie was just by here today.
He was here today?
Yeah, he came
You
by
meet
for a
Charlie?
little bit. No, Charlie's a great guy. We're
Yeah.
thrilled that he got reelected.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, that's the thing. It's like, when you start putting everybody on a pedestal, and people can see that in you, that you're really just kind of like a title chaser instead of a true connector, because it's like, oh, I just want to be able to say I'm friends with this person and that person. I mean, like getting to know people. Last night I actually I spent a good hour and a half in the bar with.
You drank at the bar?
I had water.
You had water. Okay, all right. Well, just checking with you there.
Yeah, no. But I was there with 3 city councilors and a state rep.
Okay.
But I know them as my friends. I've been friends with them
How
for
can you
8
be friends
years.
with politicians?
But they are
Oh.
cool as
All
you know
right,
what.
we'll see.
No, but I mean, like, that's the thing is, it's like, but I didn't think of them as that. I just thought of them as my friends.
Yeah.
And then I mentioned something to someone today, and they're like, "Oh, wow, you were with," and I'm like, "Holy crap, yeah, I was the only I was the only person never to be elected in the group that I was hanging out with." But, like, that's the thing is, like, you see people as people and not as titles.
Yeah, I hate titles. I mean, we gotta get rid of them. Even when I recruit for folks and they're like so title obsessed, but it's like, you don't be title obsessed like that. So yeah, we talked about that. We already talked about follow up. So, pitfalls is not looking at people as social currency. That's a big one.
Yeah. Well, how about the pitches? Because you have some stories about that, overselling in the pitches.
I think, I always like if I were to pitch, I like to do it within 30 seconds, no longer. But, my pitch is really to help others because I always look at myself as the connector. The socialconnector.Com, my blog, you know about my blog.
Oh,
right?
yeah. Read all those articles on there.
Yeah, you do. Good stuff. But it's really, how do I help others? I have resources, whether I do it myself or I know somebody. I like to look at it like that versus, hey, I'm a health and wellness person, I'm an executive recruiter, and I'm a marketing dude that runs events. I don't want people to know me as just what I do for my job. It's like, how do I help others?
Right.
Is really key. Because if I can't help you, I may know somebody who can. And I love that LinkedIn intro thing. You just do a little intro. How about you?
Getting back to the pitches, I find that when people are too practiced and too polished with their pitch,
It's like the cold call. Don't you love those?
it's a turnoff for me, and it makes me suspicious. So,
Yeah.
especially back in the good old Hollywood Square days of Zoom and Brady Bunch days,
Brady
depending.
Bunch days.
Yeah. I would see people and their pitch is like so perfect, so well like practiced. It's like they can do it in their sleep.
And I'm never gonna buy from you.
Yeah, and I'm just thinking to myself, I'm sorry, I'm very suspicious of this
Yeah.
person. You know, it goes back to, and we'll talk about review management, but to kind of share another example is like when you see people with like 10,000, product that has 10,000 5-star reviews on Amazon.
Yeah.
And you're like, is this for real? Like, is it really that good, or is
Yeah.
it? Sometimes you get suspicious.
They have a lot of friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have a lot of friends. So all right, so let's we're coming in for a landing. So hotshot tips: lead with a story, not a pitch. We've talked
Right.
about that. Notice and include someone in the margins. Those are those shy folks that you see on the corners.
The wallflowers.
You got to bring them over, right?
Yeah.
Be their friends, and then creating a playful ritual in the moment. You want to be funny.
You do.
I'm not funny, but you got to be funny in general, right?
Yeah.
That's a big one. So that is, in the nutshell, how to connect like a hotshot. Be your authentic self. Don't think of people as money. Think of them as a person, and you're gonna connect like a hot shot, baby. What do you think? Episode
I
24.
agree. Yeah.
So, all right. So we, as you know, marketlikeahotshot.com is our website. We're on YouTube. See our faces. Spotify, Amazon, Apple, iHeartRadio, and also merch, right?
Right.
Did you get Reagan a hoodie yet?
Not yet.
All right. She needs a Market Like a Hotshot hoodie. All right. You got to get one because it is cold out there.
It is.
New England is a cold place in the winter, so you need that hoodie. All right. So episode 24. We'll see you soon, Jeff and James.
Enjoy.
Enjoy. See you.